What's going on, guys? It's Rob with Spray or Splash Fragrance Reviews, back with another video. Today I'm going to be focusing on a few fragrances in my collection that center around the note of apple. If you're interested in finding out what those fragrances are, please stay tuned. All right, so I've got 5 fragrances that focus on the note of apple. Actually, one fragrance, it doesn't even really have apple listed as a note or a chord, but something about the way all of the notes come together, it has a very strong apple, feel to me. And I'm going to make that the first fragrance I touch on from the house of Wesker. This is Eau de Mystique. This is a fragrance I picked up, I want to say maybe 1 or 2 years back during the holiday season. And it has a very, very strong floral chord in the opening, almost like potpourri. It really reminds me of like Crate and Barrel, one of those type of stores from back in the 90s. I lived in Oak Park, which is a suburb of Chicago back in the day. And me and my wife had an apartment, and there was a Crate and Barrel within walking distance, and we would go to the store. And something about when I first sprayed this fragrance, it kind of takes me back to that time. It might be off-putting for some guys, keeping it 100% honest, but if you can sit with the fragrance and just let it develop, it eventually gets to what comes off like this really nice, warm, almost like Dutch apple pie smell that's very authentic, and it lasts like that for most of the fragrance once you get beyond the opening. And the opening, believe it or not, lasts for a while. So this is an extrait fragrance. This is a 50 mil, and I want to say it was like around 185 bucks, or maybe a little bit more when I bought it. I think I managed to get some type of discount, but I can't recall right now. It's a really nice fragrance, and it's got a multitude of notes listed, but I would just say in layman's terms, it's more like a honeyed floral that turns into what smells like a Dutch apple pie in the mid to the dry down. So you kind of have to get to that point, but it's a lovely fragrance. And if that sounds like something you might be interested in checking out, check it out. From the house of Wesker, this is Eau de Mystique. Next up is one from the house of Hugo Boss. This is Hugo Boss Intense EDP. This is a fragrance that when the original was out, it never really, interested me. I never really sought this one out. But once I got onto YouTube, I heard so many people talk positively about it. I made a note that when I had an opportunity to cop this fragrance, that I would pick it up. And when they made the EDP Intense and people began to talk about this one, everything that was missing from the original, they felt like it kind of been tweaked and improved in this fragrance. I made a note to pick this one up. And out of the fragrances I have here, it's probably the most, I guess, artificial smelling, but that's not a bad thing with this fragrance. The way it feels on my skin, it's kind of warm, a little spicy, and just under the surface, it's got what feels like a paper or like a construction paper accord that just, again, sits right below the surface. It's a fragrance that has a lot of mass appeal to me. I think a lot of people like the fragrance, and when I got it, it wasn't really that hard to find them. I don't know if the fragrance has been discontinued. From the house of Boss, this is Hugo Boss Bottled Intense EDP. I've said this before, and I will say it again in this video. Last year, I believe this was one of the best releases, period, especially on the designer side. All right, from the house of Brioni, this is Brioni EDP Intense. I'm gonna make a bold statement, but hear me out. Brioni EDP Intense does for apple what Declaration d'un Soir does for rose. It is almost like the perfect masculine apple fragrance. It's so versatile. It's so classy. Man, this is just an amazing release. Now, it's not going to be a fragrance that I think is going to blow people away when they smell it. I kind of hate saying that I think a fragrance is so good, because I feel like you raise the bar so high, and when people smell it, they're kind of let down. But, you know, just think about it like this. It is apple that is fresh. It's got a dryness to it with that pepper. So it's masculine, but the freshness of the apple almost has a watery feel to it. Believe it or not, I know that's kind of like contradicting, but it's just really well done. And you know, fragrances that really make people go ooh and ah today are fragrances that are really like gourmand. This is not a gourmand fragrance, but trust me, it is an extremely well done fragrance, and I think it deserves a little bit more in regard to hype and people talking about it. I think if more people had the opportunity to put their nose on the fragrance, I think people would really be singing this one's praises. But Brioni is not a brand that people, I think, know a whole lot about, or it's not a fragrance that's readily available. I don't think it's out there like that, but nevertheless, I think very highly of the fragrance, and I want to speak on this one again from the house of Brioni. This is Brioni EDP Intense. From the house of Gallagher Fragrances, Rosé All Day. This fragrance smells extremely authentic. It's like an apple crisp, honestly. It has the ability to really make me get in the holiday spirit. It just has this this warmth to it that just really puts me in a good mood. And I think this fragrance is amazing. I think more people need to check it out. It's not gimmicky. You can wear it for more than just the holidays, but it's just, for me personally, that's how it makes me feel. It's got the notes on the bottle: apple crisp, plum, dark rose, brown sugar, tonka bean, stainless steel. I don't really get the stainless steel, but it's listed. It really feels like, to me, more so there's cinnamon in here. They don't list it, but I feel like there's cinnamon and brown sugar that kind of play off each other and work with that apple crisp note, which kind of gives it this really authentic, apple pie, apple crisp, whatever vibe to it that smells, wow, so good. Got to check this one out if you've never checked it. From the house of Gallagher Fragrances, this is Rosé All Day. Last but not least is the Frag Comme Darling from the house of Parfums de Marly. This is Layton. I don't really have to say a whole lot about this fragrance. I mean, folks that pretty much mostly have designer fragrances have Layton. It's kind of like got that crossover feel and appeal, and a lot of people really enjoyed the fragrance. I think it's a well done, niche fragrance that kind of has like mass appeal, designer-like, qualities to it. To me, it's got this like powdery, slightly spicy, nice, almost like candied apple accord that also has like a slight mintiness to it on my skin, but really well done fragrance. This is a big success, probably one of the best selling fragrances for Parfums de Marly. And if you've never checked this one out, you need to check it out. All right. This is Layton from the house of Parfums de Marly. Guys, I thank you so much for checking out the video. We've got some more content coming soon. Until next time, I hope you guys stay safe. Take care of each other. Peace.